In this tutorial, we're going to be learning how to use layer masks, and we're going to be creating a project like this where you composite or add two images together, blend them together in a cool way. So the first thing we want to do is to open up this background image, which is the exposure.nef image. So if you go to that image in your documents or your Finder and say open in Photoshop, Creative Cloud, or whatever program you have. I quickly made some adjustments using Camera Raw. We're going to be covering how to use Camera Raw in a bit, but if it's not already like this, I decreased the exposure by -0.9 and I increased the contrast by 39 and the vibrance by 23. And then just click Open Images. And you can do those things by sliding up these sliders like so. Then just open that image, and that's going to open up a new Photoshop project with this image as the background. The next thing we're going to do is find this dodge and burn photo, which is right here. And I'm just going to click and drag and drop this into this project. And the same thing, I made a few adjustments to this. It doesn't really matter for this lesson if you make these adjustments or not, but I did drop the exposure to -0.55. I increased the contrast to 36. The highlights I increased to 62, and I left the vibrance at 0, although maybe we'll boost it a little bit just to match the vibrance of the other photo. And then just click OK, and it will open up this photo in here, and it covers the complete photo. Now we're going to learn how to use the layer mask tool. So once we place this image just by pressing enter or return on your keyboard, you can see that this layer mask button is now available. So with any of these layers selected, we can just click that layer mask button, or you can drag a layer into that layer mask button. And what happens is you see this little white box pop up right here. In layman's terms, what this is saying is that wherever there is white, we're going to show this image. Wherever there is black in this little box right here, we're not going to show this image. And the way we actually get rid of or add black or white is by painting it on. So we can go to our brush tool over here by selecting the brush, or by pressing B on our keyboard, which is the keyboard shortcut for brush. You can adjust the settings of your brush by going up here, going to size and increasing or decreasing. You can increase or decrease the hardness, which is basically the edge of the brush. I typically leave it pretty soft. I don't want it to have a sharp edge. Or the other way to do it is with a keyboard shortcut. If you're on a Mac, you can press the Control Option button, and then if you click and drag to the left or right, you can see the diameter of the brush increasing or decreasing. On a PC or Windows keyboard, you press the Windows or Start button and then also Alt. So that Windows and Alt button, and then click and drag to the left or right, and you can see as I drag left or right, the diameter increases or decreases. If I drag up or down, the hardness of the brush goes up to 100% or down, so it gets harder or softer. This is a key shortcut that you want to learn. This will save so much time. So now we have our brush that we want, and we literally paint on white or black. And you can see here that we have our foreground and background colors right here. We have white right here, and then black is the backup color. To swap those, we can just press X on our keyboard, or press this little button right here with the double arrows that switches the foreground and the background colors. So if we want to erase some of this image, we want to paint black. Now while I do this, pay attention to what happens over here in this little white box right there. As I paint on here, black is painted on over here. So I can just go around here. Sometimes depending on how big your computer is, it takes a little while to load. And then say I painted a little bit too much off of Isabel's head. This is my beautiful wife, wedding photos from our own wedding. I can go switch back to white. I'm just pressing X on my keyboard, switch back to white, and paint some white on here. I can go back to my move tool. I can press V on my keyboard to get that tool, or click the button up here. And then I could increase the size of this. I thought it'd be cool to have this photo where you just see the front and the back of my wife's wife's dress. And then after I resize and position it, I press return or enter on your keyboard. And then I could press B again to bring back my brush, and I can start painting on because I don't want to see any of my shoulder. Maybe I want it to be a little bit of a bigger brush with a little bit less hardness to make sure that this thing is very soft. It's not too hard. And really kind of just flows gently into the other photo. So this is how you use layer mask to delete portions of an image. We're going to be using layer mask for a lot of other cool effects, to add adjustment layers to just parts of an image. For example, we can use this layer mask to just make a part of an image black and white, or make just part of an image more contrasted or sharp or anything like that. And we're going to learn how to do that in a future lesson. But for now, just play around with using the layer mask option with different images to combine them together. And you can use the images that I use here to create this kind of image right here. One thing to note though is you have to make sure that you have this box selected right here. If you select this box right here and then you try to paint on, it's not going to let you. You have to make sure that you select this little box and it's highlighted right here, the layer mask box. Okay? Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in another lesson.